Hello, Prague. I'm very sorry I can't be with you in person to mark this grim second anniversary of the brutal invasion and occupation of Ukraine by Vladimir Putin's Russia. You in Prague know better than anyone what it means to be invaded and occupied by a foreign power. Nazi Germany, 1938-39, and on, the Soviet Union, 1968, and on. You know what it means for a whole society not to be free, not to be sovereign, not to be master in your own house. And of course, for the people of Ukraine, the suffering has been terrible, not just the hundreds of thousands killed and wounded, but the many millions of people driven out of their own homes, either living under Russian occupation or living elsewhere in Ukraine or living abroad. Now, the position at the moment is that we in the West, in Europe, have done enough to enable Ukraine not to lose, to hang on to 4/5 of its territory. But we have not done enough yet to enable Ukraine to win. As things stand, Russia is still occupying nearly 1/5 of the country, a territory equivalent in size to the whole of Portugal and most of Slovenia. And what we need to do this year to prepare for the major offensive that could come more likely next year is to supply Ukraine with more weapons, more ammunition, more drones, and significantly more training, multi-week training for its armed forces, so that it is in a position to take offensive action despite the embedded Russian defenses, most likely next year. And alas, because the support of the United States is very much in question and is unlikely to increase, even if Donald Trump is not elected US president this autumn, and if he is elected US president, all the more so, it's up to us Europeans. It's up to us in Europe to give our increased support to what is, after all, a European country battling for its freedom and its sovereignty. And we can do it. The German economy alone is twice the size of that of Russia. The EU's economy is 8 times the size of Russia's, and other European countries like my own, Britain, will be very much involved in this struggle, in this support for Ukraine. The significance of such a victory is not just for Ukraine. It's also for all our security, particularly yours in Central and Eastern Europe. Ukraine is, after all, just down the road, the other side of Slovakia. Think of the Baltic states. And the rest of the world has bought Putin's narrative that this is a war between Russia and NATO, Europe, the West. And therefore, if we allow Ukraine to lose, we too will have lost. Our own credibility as the West, as NATO, as Europeans, is at stake in this war. And one other thing particularly important to me as a historian, at stake in this war is also the historical truth, because the whole ideological basis of Putin's war is a huge historical lie, repeated at length by Vladimir Putin in his recent so-called interview with Tucker Carlson, that Ukraine is essentially just a part of Russia, little Russia. Ukrainians are just Russians. You know the tune in Prague. And so it's also a battle for historical truth. You uniquely have, as the heirs of Jan Hus and Tomáš Garrigue-Masaryk and Václav Havel, on your presidential banner, the famous words, Pravda vítězí, Pravda vítězí. The truth will prevail. if we help Ukraine to win, the truth will prevail. Europe will prevail. Freedom and democracy will prevail. Slava Ukraini. Slava Europe.